So today I'm going to show you guys how to work with modeling paste. And there's two different brands that I tend to work with. And so we've got the Masters Touch, which I think you can get online maybe through Amazon, but also it's mostly a Hobby Lobby thing. And you can see it's $19.99. So if you can't get it at Hobby Lobby, it's better because then you can use that 40% off coupon. It'll be a lot less. And then my favorite brand, but it's a lot more expensive, is the Liquitex brand. And the difference really is just that the Liquitex is a thicker paste than the Masters Touch. And when you're buying modeling paste, you want to make sure that you buy flexible modeling paste. I don't know that the Masters Touch has like different versions. I think this might just be it, but the Liquitex brand does. And if you don't get the flexible modeling paste, you might end up accidentally getting the one that you have to use on like a hard surface. And so the issue with that is that when you go to use it on like a canvas and it moves it all, it'll crack and stuff. So you do not want that. So when I'm using modeling paste, I usually use it with a palette knife, but you can also paint with it, but it's thick, so it's gonna have kind of a chunkier look. So I just always use the palette knives. And there's kind of two ways you can do it. So you can either put the paint in first and work with it, or you can not and then paint it afterwards when it's dry, or you can do a combination of both. If you're using the color red, you're pretty much always going to have to paint it afterwards if you want it to actually be red, because since the modeling paste is white and you're mixing red into it, I mean, you can't really get away from it being pink, I guess, unless you used a massive amount of red in comparison to the modeling paste, and then that's just expensive. Part of the nice quality of using, I'm mixing green in now, a modeling paste is that even though it is an expensive product, it is far less expensive than trying to use that much paint to get a thick look. And also, I have a feeling you would probably get a lot of cracking with just plain paint, whereas you will not with this. Now you can already see how much lighter this is. So, you know, for myself, when I've painted with it, which I've used this stuff a lot, you know, sometimes it's like, okay, well, I like this green, and maybe I'm gonna want some parts of it to be darker, so I'll put this down, and then when it dries, I'll paint on it later. Usually to be able to paint on it and not have it be kind of, like it'll kind of seal, and this is gross, I know, but it'll like sort of seal like old soup or like milk or something if it's left out, but like the inside will still be smushy. So usually it's just good to wait like, 24 hours before you try to paint on top of it. But if you're in a rush, you can hit it with a blow dryer for a really long time and try to be really careful, but it's probably not the best idea. So when you're using it, you're gonna take it, and then, you can do all kinds of stuff with it. You can, it's kind of, I mean, I feel, and I'm sure there's examples that would prove me wrong, but I feel like this is kind of more of a abstract expressionism-y kind of product. Because if you want things to be really neat and clean, I don't know that this would be like your medium, because as you can see, like it's kind of got like, there's definitely, you can definitely control it, but only to a certain point. If you were like, I want to make something that looks absolutely perfect with completely smooth sections, I mean, that would be kind of hard. But I liken it to working probably with icing. It's probably a little denser, but similar. And when you're doing this, I mean, you could use a fork. There's all kinds of different sculpting tools you can use. I've been using this palette knife that's shaped like this. There's all different kinds of palette knife shapes. Here's like a tiny little one. I can do stuff like this. I can make my little sections really small. I can make it look more textured a little bit more easily because it's so small. Then there's this flat round kind. You know, you can make, I guess, little smooth sections, or you can just kind of play with what you like about it. And I would say, like, before you get going on a painting, it's always good to kind of practice like how I'm kind of laying it out right here. And you can like scoop it off and put it on again, because it dries fast in the sense that it's not oil painting, but it's like you could mess around with this for like a while, a good hour before it's going to start kind of wanting to dry. Well, maybe a little less, but you get the idea. And you can use lots of different colors and, you know, kind of do whatever you want to do. If you want something that looks a little bit more abstract and thick and textury, it's really easy to work with. I really like it, and you can save it. I mean, it definitely, after a while, like if I save this in like a cup with a lid, you know, maybe a week or two, or maybe even a little longer if it's really sealed well, but you know, 6 months later, this stuff's going to be pretty chunky and not nearly as so moldable. So anyway, that's a good way to use flexible modeling paste, and I know a lot of you have either wanted to use it or really enjoy using it, so it's a good product. All right, thanks guys, talk to you soon.